There is a dragon waiting to awaken within the one. I just want to have fun because I've been talking all day about big things. So let's go small, even though it's still big. Self-defense 101. The punch. A lot of people probably think that you know how to punch. You may know how to throw your hand at somebody, but that's not necessarily how to punch. Bruce Lee realized and pointed out that the quickest path between an object is a straight line, right? So he favored the straight punch. Now to begin, stand with your feet shoulder width apart. Now for this purpose, with your strong hand, your dominant side, take a step back and bend your knees slightly. Now put your hands up around your chest, elbows in, chin down, at your shoulder. So if you do get hit, you have some kind of shock absorption. So it's less likely or harder to knock you out should you get hit in the chin. Now keep this in mind when you throw your punch. We're going to do a right hand punch. Okay? Now, you see how my fingers are pointing up. When you throw the punch, big tough guys that are just used to being stronger all the time, they tend to just throw arm punches because that's all they need because they're strong. But little guys like me, we have to throw our entire body weight rooted off the ground into our punch as fast as we can, because I don't know if you know the mathematics, but strength with the big tough guy, that's one thing, right? But strength multiplied by speed equals power. So if the big tough guy has the strength but no speed, his power increases a little bit. But the smaller, not as strong guy, if he has that speed and increases the multiplication of the strength to equal a greater power, that is how a little dude like Bruce Lee kicks like a horse. Alright, you stand with your shoulders, there. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart. Take a step back with your power hand, chin down, elbows in. Now when you throw your punch, you're not just throwing your arm, brah. Maybe the big tough guy can do that. But little guys, or technical fighters, you are going to throw your shoulder, your hip, and your knee at the same exact time. Do you see? It's all in the hip. If you listen to Bruce Lee talk, when he says you have to throw your whole hip into it, you have to snap it like a whip. And then from that snap is when you fire the bullet, which is your hand. You're firing all this energy. You can't see my feet, but the balls of your feet rooted into the ground. Not on your heels. Maybe you think because you watch the UFC and you see all these athletes get away with doing poor technique or unorthodox things. For self-defense purposes, technique will make a huge difference against a thug or a rapist or whatever. Shoulder width apart, bend slightly so you can move. That's what it is. Plus so you can ground better and push off the ground. Now when I throw my punch, I'm going to push off the ground when I snap my hip. And it's halfway through. Or better yet, almost at the end of the hip extension is when you release and fire. Now when you fire, you see how my fingers are pointed up? When you fire halfway through is when you begin to turn your hand and only close your fist at the last second. And do not hit Do not hit your target on the surface. Hit behind the target. Go all the way through it. And then snap as fast as you can right back to your starting position. Not only to protect yourself from incoming strikes, but also to get the snapping effect on that energy. Feel me? So it's like this. Hands up, chin down. You're rooted in the ground. You can't be rooted where you can't move. You have to be on the balls of your feet. You know where the balls of your feet are? Like right here. Not on your heel. You need to be able to move. Move on the balls of your feet. You see that? Like a fucking rabbit. You gotta have you jacked up on your calves so you can come in and get out. Come in, get out. Move. So feet shoulder width apart. You throw the hip. Bam! Right? Throw the hip, shoulder, the knee. Twist. Watch my knee. Twist. Keep your toes pointed at your target. And twist. Twist. Hip punch. Hip punch. Hip punch. And now, the whole thing. I'm going to do it slow. Twist the hip, knee and shoulder, and throw out your punch. Notice how I'm turning it halfway. Throw it out, and then right before impact, close your fist. Do not hit the surface. Hit an inch or two behind the surface, and snap back. You want your chin down, shoulder up. So if he hits, there's less likely of a chance of you getting popped in the jaw or chin. Or if you do, you have shock absorption. Okay? So, we're in. Snap the hip, root it, push off the ground like a sprinter. You know how sprinters push off the ground when they start the race? This is dynamic energy, mathematics, technique. You're not only punching with your arm. For a little guy like me, we're going to push off the ground. And from that energy pushing off the ground, we combine in our hip an explosion of energy, which continues up into our shoulder and fires from our shoulder through our hand and generating the speed at which you throw your hand out. It is multiplying the strength you have. Times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4. And then, upon impact, do not stop on the surface, for they will not get the full force and impact of the blow. You stop an inch or two beyond the surface and snap it back. So instead of just a car crash, you want a snap like boom. So there's that extra dynamic energy. Feel me? Just like. And if you're doing the finger to the eye, same thing. If you want to throw, jab, the jab is to gauge your distance or set up your power hand. Some street fighters like to be unorthodox, and because street fights don't usually last that long, so they don't feel like they want to do the whole sport thing with your power hand back here. They want the strong hand at the front, so they can just end it quick. But it's the same thing. See? I'm twisting my hip, I'm pushing off the ground, lean into it, and then just blast. If it's the dragon spear to the eye, careful, you get in trouble if it's not life or death. Dragon spear to the eye. This is how you punch. It's technique, mathematics. This is why a smaller person can knock out a bigger, stronger person. It's mathematics. Strength is strength. But when you multiply strength times speed, it equals your power. So if the big tough guy has no multiplication of speed, his strength is the same. But to the little guy who's weaker, if I can go 10 times faster than the big guy, then what I lack in strength is multiplied times 10, and I win. And then I bloop,